So we're here for our May coffee and chocolate subscription, and I'm here with Sara, who, those of you who've been to any of our coffee and chocolate tastings and pairings at Proofrock or online will know that we've done this more than a few times. This is not our first rodeo, but Sara, tell us a little bit about where you come from.
Of course. Thanks, Spencer. It's really nice to be here tasting some chocolate with you again. So I run the education and events department here at Grandma Coffee Roasters, which means running the Proofrock Barista Training Centre, which is our barista school in central London, where we teach courses to anyone. It can be if you bought your first coffee machine for home, all the way up to 3-day courses for coffee professionals who want to take exams and receive certificates for their coffee skills. You've had your fair share of coffee skills with us in the past.
We've done them lots of times. They are fantastic. And they are absolutely brilliant. And we've done a few coffee and chocolate tastings, so we know one another pretty well. And I have a huge respect for your palate and your educational skills. And we've done lots on Menti and other things. But anyway, I'm delighted with this coffee that you bought. So this is a Colombian coffee that you and Jamie have got for us this week. So this is, tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll break open the chocolate to get a go for those.
Of course. So this is La Molina, the coffee that we've selected for the pairing with these chocolates this month. So this is a coffee from Molina in Colombia. It's a pretty classic Colombian coffee, I'd say. We'll talk more flavor notes once for tasting and chocolate, but it's a delicious coffee. It's a new relationship to us. So we're very excited to see what this coffee is going to do this year and hopefully in the future. But it's produced by José Ricaute de Tavisca, who has his own farm in Colombia. So let's taste it and see.
We have, and we've not managed to get any Colombian chocolates for you to match with this coffee, but instead what we've started with is what is sometimes known as the world's best milk chocolate. And it's known that because for a number of years it's won that accolade. It's made by the amazing Zotter family, so Joseph and Julia and the rest of the family too. And it's made with Nicaraguan beans. It's 50%, so it's a dark milk, but it is definitely a milk chocolate. And should we start with a little bit of the filter coffee just to sort of, get going? Lovely nose. How's that? Lots of sort of cherries and stones.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the filter roast. We brewed as a filter, and I think we're really getting these super nice, well-balanced, like Colombian
That balance is definitely where it is. So now let's see what happens when we get a bit of chocolate with it.
Thank you, Spencer.
So I immediately get caramel and treacle and nuts, which I think is brought out actually a bit by the coffee.
I think so too. I think this chocolate really highlights those kind of very sweet, caramelly flavors. Super nice, like texture of this chocolate too. I think it matches really well.
Yes, it does. It's beautifully tendered. It's beautifully conched and ground. Incredibly silky and smooth, and it brings out all sorts of sweetness in the coffee.
I think it's a very kind of fudgy, that kind of sweet caramel flavors of the coffee, I think.
No, and anybody who's in Austria, if you get a chance, go visit Julia and Joseph's amazing factory. They have an amazing experience which you can go to. And they are just absolutely fantastic. So, having been to Austria, we're now going to go in a slightly sort of strange way to a combination of Sweden, which obviously you know very, very well, which is where Dwayne partially hails from. Tobago, which is where his family live, and he is in for quite a lot of the year, but also to France because it's made by Calu, and it's a fantastic bar called the Tobago Estate, Laura Bar, and it's called Laura after his grandmother. So Dwayne's family have been growing cacao, had farms for literally almost 100 years, and this is the 10th anniversary of this bar. It's a fantastic bar, and before we talk a little bit more about it, I'm going to give you a little bit of your chocolate to give it a go with, and we can sort of taste it. So we mentioned fudgy in the last bit. I think even just the snap of this sort of gives you that sensation. It's a 45%, and it's lovely melt. It takes a bit of time. Typical of Pralu, that sort of buttery, chewy.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit longer than the first one, I think.
Yeah.
But it's super nice. Still very creamy, really nice texture. Yeah.
I get a little bit of stone fruit from it too.
Definitely. Like, I think with the coffee as well, where the first one really brought out the kind of caramelly, fudgy notes of the coffee more, I think this one highlights the fruitiness of this coffee. We do have like loads of different stone fruits in this, maybe plum, like on this, like the sweeter side of things. With this chocolate, I'm also getting like a bit of red apple, that kind of sweet.
Now you say red apple, but you brought it out to me. Yeah, it does have that sort of, that sweetness that you get
Yeah, I think so too. And I think you can taste it a little bit in the coffee itself, but really when you're eating it with this chocolate, I think it brings out that type of fruitiness. Still creamy, still fudgy, but just
You are getting that
a bit
fruitiness. You're
more.
absolutely
Yeah.
right. It brings out sort of somehow the sharpness and the length and the complexity
Yeah.
too. Now, this is so we're going to give you a warning now, because in the video in a minute there's going to be a bit of a strange sound. We're going to give you the background to it. So we were talking about this earlier. So cocoa was introduced to Tobago and Trinidad, we think 16th century, 17th century, at the same time as a particular bird, which we think of as parrots, but a couple of different parrots were introduced into Tobago at the same time. Now, there is a challenge with parrots and cocoa, which is that parrots love the pulp inside cocoa pods, and they also quite like the seeds. So they are really, really problematic for Dwayne and the other cocoa farmers in Trinidad and Tobago. And Dwayne has tried all sorts of extraordinary measures to basically protect his cocoa fields and his cocoa farm and his sort of forest where he grows the cocoa from these parrots, including basically getting the Tobago army to basically hold firing practice up there, but that didn't go down too well with the neighbours. So his next move was really quite ingenious, which is that he had a friend, a Rastafarian friend, who trained for 3 years in the UK called Kinton as a master of hawks. So he basically got some hawks and some other raptors to basically be trained in the farm to scare off the parrots. And it worked really, really well for a time, until the airport and the hotels found out about this, because they also had a problem with parrots. And basically, unfortunately, Kinton is now spending more of his time there than he is up with Dwayne. So Dwayne has had to find other solutions. So, rather than pesticides or anything like that, he's tried nets, he's tried firecrackers, but his latest idea, which we're going to try and get a little bit of sound for you on the video, and if you want to know more, you can see it at cocorunners.com, Trinidad and Tobago, the makers, is he's basically recorded really upset parrots to basically scream at the top of their lungs to scare off everybody. And it is a bit shocking. So as you're trying this chocolate, probably don't listen to the music, because it's not going to do you too much good. But do just think about the innovative ways that people are thinking about how to do that. Would you like to try another bit of the
I'd
chocolate?
love
as
to
we're
have a
doing
little
it?
bit. So this, for the parrots, is it mostly like post-harvest that it's a problem, or do they also like get into
it's
the...
as they're growing. It's
Oh,
as
they
they're
get
growing.
into the pods themselves.
Yeah. So the pods, as you know,
Yeah.
cocoa pod is basically about the same size as a rugby football. And as it matures, you get this very, very lovely sweet pulp, which they love. And these incredibly bitter and astringent seeds too, which they seem to be quite interested in as well. And they basically peck through.
Wow.
And you can try using nets. That sort of works a bit. But actually at the moment, Dwayne's great technique is this sort of sound box, which does sound pretty frightening. I mean, if I was a parrot, I'd be pretty scared by it too.
I mean, we listened to it a little bit before, and like you said, definitely don't enjoy your chocolate and your coffee with it. I feel like that will be, it will not be a positive enhancer
No.
for...
So if you're going to serve this at dinner, don't sort of stop the video at this point now. And before we move on to talking about the espresso. So espresso time. This is very exciting, and thank you very much to Ben for brewing this delightful espresso.
Thanks, Ben.
And Ben, also thank you for coming on our masterclass, which was fantastic.
Yeah,
down
he
at
said he
Larsson
enjoyed
Coffee.
it.
He was absolutely brilliant. He was a superstar in terms of his enunciation of flavors and principles.
Oh, nice.
Really nice and super different.
Very different, right?
It shows you how amazing, though, this coffee, how flexible it is, that it can be most wonderful filter, and also a really, really deep and resonant espresso. My gosh, that is really, wow, that is...
Yeah, it's delicious. And yeah, so this coffee, when we're tasting its filter, I think we definitely get more of those, like, we talk fudgy, caramel, with those lighter fruits, like plum, maybe red apple, like kind of nice balanced acidity. And now as espresso, you're just getting more of those fruity notes coming through. I think it's still a nice body, like really nice texture of it. But it just highlights those kind of fruity, like fresh fruit notes.
Yeah, that's definitely right. It definitely does. And I'm looking forward to trying. Should we try first? Should we try the...
Maybe we'll go the opposite way.
I think
this
that's a
time.
very good
Yeah.
idea.
So
So there you go.
Thank you.
So give it a little go. And you hear that lovely snap, which of course I haven't been doing, but...
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens now, because this is what brought out the more kind of appley plum notes in the filter coffee. Let's see what happens when we're drinking as espresso.
Brings
Right.
out all sorts of lengths and complexities, but I'm getting some of those stone fruits again.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe more into like I don't know, like nectarine or peach now.
I was
like
about to
those
sort of say
little-
lime or tangerine. So
yeah,
yeah,
like
I'm very.
we're in the green and yellows.
Yeah,
now instead of,
we're
like, the
definitely in the
purples
we're
like
definitely in the
before.
citrus fruits.
Yeah, definitely. I also think with this, it brings out a little kind of a marzipan-y thing. So, you know, when you have like, it's like almondy, but it's not like completely like raw almond. It just has that little
It
sweetness
has
that
the
you can
sweetness
get.
of,
Yeah.
that you sort of get with marzipan. But it is really interesting. You don't get the same apple, the red apple that you
No,
were quite
I don't think so either.
spot on there too. By the way, always, whenever we talk about flavor, one of the things we would say is it's super individual. So the initial flavors that you're going to get from both coffee and from chocolate are really all about the heat from your mouth and the heat from the coffee, releasing the initial set of volatiles. And, you know, that's the reason why a cold coffee is very different to a hot coffee, white chocolate as well. As it heats up, will have a little bit of a different flavor, etc. But later in flavor, what's actually happening is you have bonded volatiles in both coffee and chocolate, which are released not by heat, but actually by different enzymes and bacteria we have in our mouths. And because we all have slightly different oral microbiomes, we are all going to get different flavors. So please, 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 this is a polite way of saying these are just flavor guides. They're not supposed to be. If you don't get this, there's something wrong. Absolutely not. You should get lots of different things too, especially as time goes on as you're savoring it.
Yeah, definitely. There are no rules when it comes to describing flavor. And also when we do these as well, we often agree, but we're not always going to say.
No, we're not always, and we say in different orders.
Yeah.
So I think what you want to do is, I mean, the reason why I love toasting with you is because A, you have a great vocab, but B, you're really, really good at making me look and think, oh yes, I do get those notes too.
It helps
And I
a
think
lot,
they do.
doesn't it? To
It
just
does.
talk
It
and
should be a conversation, not a monologue.
yeah.
No, I really do. I do think that's important. But I think the other thing which you're looking for in both great coffees and great chocolates always is this sort of the balance, the length, the intensity, and the complexity. And I'm absolutely I got it in both the filter and in the espresso here. Lovely balance. Here in particular, I'm getting lots of intensity, but also in both of them, fantastic complexity. So right, let's keep going. Now let's go to Zotter, and we're going to try the 50% milk again. Again, you are absolutely spot on with the melt. I'm still getting the fudge. I'm still getting a bit of caramel.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
brown sugar, the molasses. Maybe a bit of dates now, but
I think dates is good. Like it is that very sweet, like slightly fruity.
That's absolutely amazing.
I think a similar thing is happening, like what happened with the filter coffee now, whilst this, I think, brings out more of the, like the fruitiness and like the really nice juicy acidity. I think this brings out more of that. It is a more, I think, fudgy caramelly chocolate anyway, but I think that's what like balances this coffee as well. Like that's what I'm tasting a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right.
in this pair.
And one thing we would also sort of stress is that this comparison is really important. Just as you were sort of saying, you want a dialogue when you're talking about flavors. Always have the two chocolates on the go. And that's the reason why this month's box, you'll see that there's a little envelope inside it, Coca-Cola's brand envelope. That is basically a pouch designed, just as these pouches are designed so that they'll keep your coffee beans fresh for some time. Those are our chocolate pouches designed to keep your chocolate fresh. So don't be afraid to open them both. Just pop them in the pouch. They won't cross-contaminate because they're both dark milks. And just savor and enjoy them. But gosh, this is a treat,
This
Sarah.
is delicious. And I think, yeah, this coffee works so well with both. So as a filter coffee, we're just getting those like a little bit more kind of mellow flavors, like nice fruits like red apple, plum, those things going on. And as espresso, it just becomes a little bit more intense, as it often does, because it is, it is a more concentrated drink. But with this coffee, you can definitely drink it both as filter or espresso. You just adapt your recipe and kind of find out what you enjoy, because that's what it's
all about.
Yeah.
And the same with the chocolates.
Yeah.
It is great to be back with you. I'm very excited. Next time we're going to be back together again soon, and we'll be telling you about, I know that it's going ahead, but we'll be telling you about some more tastings that we're going to be doing too together.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you, Spencer.